What's up, guys? Mainly Hockey Cards here, and today we're looking at all 30 Young Guns from this year's 2022-23 Upper Deck Extended Series. I will give an investment potential letter rating from F to A for each card. In general, I see Fs as cards to stay away from, Ds as players with limited to no potential for value, Cs as players that are on the fringe of having more value but look more like depth players, Bs as players that have increasing potential but may have inconsistencies or uncertainties, and A's as players that are the highlights of the product and have the highest potential value ceiling. These grades are also scaled based on the rest of the crop and not based on past or future crops. It is important to note I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own due diligence and research before investing in anything or anyone. Let's get Extended Series going. Nick DeSimone is a 28-year-old defender with some offensive prowess shown this season in the AHL, but hasn't done much in 4 games with the Flames, D-. Dylan Wells is a 25-year-old goaltender that played in the ECHL, AHL, and NHL this season. 1 great game in the show and mixed results in the minors, C+. Marcus Bjork is a 25-year-old defenseman that put together a modest 11 points in 33 games for the Blue Jackets this season. It looks to be a bit of an anomaly, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, C-. Matej Blumel is a 22-year-old winger who had 1 goal in 6 NHL games this season and put together a solid 44-point AHL campaign in his first North American pro season. For now, a C+. Jonatan Berggren is the premier rookie of this product, 28 points in 67 NHL games, 7 points in 8 games at the World Championship with Sweden, and is in a very strong market with a great core around him, A. Juuso Parssinen was a stud this year for the Predators, plain and simple, 22 years old and 25 points in 45 games for the Preds, B+. Nick Cicek is a 22-year-old defenseman who had 4 points in his first 16 NHL games. However, this seems to be again an anomaly as he had more in the NHL than 37 games in the AHL, D+. Nikita Alexandrov is a soon-to-be 23-year-old centerman who showed a lot of upside for the Blues this past season, 7 points in 28 NHL games and 38 points in 41 AHL games, B-. Pontus Holmberg turned in 13 points in 37 NHL games for the Leafs this season. He is 24, but assuming he gets re-signed, could improve upon that in a fantastic market, B. Fredrik Olofsson is a 27-year-old forward for the Stars who had 4 points in his first 28 NHL games, seems to be all over the ice in the limited playoff action he's seen as well, had terrific SHL numbers, could be a late bloomer, C+. Tyler Tucker is a 23-year-old defenseman that put up 4 points in his first 26 NHL games this season, not known for his offense historically, C-. Oscar Olofsson had a relatively underwhelming first pro season, but at age 20, the former first-round pick has time and is in a great market to succeed, B. Simon Holmstrom is a 23-year-old winger who had 6 goals and 3 assists in 50 NHL games this season. For a team that badly needs offense, I would expect to see Holmstrom have an increased role this next season, B-. Mac Hollowell is a relatively undersized 24-year-old defenseman who had 2 points in 6 NHL games and 13 and 18 in the AHL this past season, C+. James Hamblin is a 24-year-old winger that had 0 points in 10 NHL games and went half a point per game in the AHL this year. I don't see a ton of promise, but he is in a good market, C-. Jean-Luc Foudy is a 21-year-old center who had 36 points in 46 AHL games this season and no points in 9 NHL games, C+. William Bitton is a 24-year-old forward that made huge offensive strides this year in the AHL, turning in 45 points in 65 games, 1 assist in 4 NHL games, C. Kirill Marchenko scores goals. That's what he does. Goal scorers command hobby value, and if Columbus can get their act together and stay healthy, I'm really interested in what Marchenko could do, A-. Semyon Durargachintsev is a center who put together a good AHL campaign and no points in 1 NHL game. He'll be 23 when the season starts, and with his contract up, it's tough to tell his future and in what market, C+. Tim Berni had 3 points in 59 games this season for the Jackets on defense. Unfortunately, he doesn't have much offensive upside, D. Callahan Burke is a 26-year-old forward who has put together a string of above-average pro seasons, but hasn't shown much in the limited NHL time he's gotten. C. Eetu Makiniemi is a 24-year-old goaltender that had a solid display in his first 2 NHL games and had an average line in the AHL this year. Interested to see what happens given his contract is up. C. Samuel Walker is a soon-to-be 24-year-old winger who had 2 points in his first 9 NHL games, 27 goals and 48 points in 57 games in the AHL, and even appeared in a game for Team USA and the World Championship. That's promising. C+. Jake Lucchini is 28 and not as promising, but still had 53 points in 61 AHL games and added a goal in 11 NHL games. Maybe a late bloomer here? C. Justin Kirkland is 26 and had 0 points in 7 NHL games this season. Not a great year in the AHL either. D-. Parker Wotherspoon is a 25-year-old defenseman who had 1 point in 12 NHL games this season. Doesn't hold much offensive upside. Again, D-. Samuel Ersson is a 23-year-old goaltender that performed okay as a backup for the Flyers and also turned in an average AHL regular season. Lots of time for him to develop, and maybe he gets a shot if Carter Hart gets injured. C+. Aatu Ratu was at once a consensus top 10 pick before sliding in his draft year. Now with Vancouver via the Bo Horvat trade, he's shown amazing promise at times. Could be a dark horse kind of rookie. B. Anton Lefschi is a 27-year-old winger who was a Liga superstar before coming over to North America, where he just didn't pan out. Back across the pond. F. Berggren, Holmberg, checklist. This is not a great checklist. Checklists sell, but aren't usually worth much. C. Overall, I'm not going to sugarcoat things for you guys. This grouping looks incredibly weak. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing. It's free, helps the channel out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. Thanks for watching, and have a great week, everyone.